Hey, fifth grade. I just want to give you a little overview of our next steps once you've filled out your research. I just want to give you an example of mine. I chose the ocelles, which is the three smallest bones in the ear, and they kind of look like this. That's my rough sketch. And I found out quite a few things, that they start as cartilage in a baby's development, and then they harden into bone, and then they break away from the jaw and move into the middle ear, and that basically sound waves come into the ear and make the eardrum vibrate, which vibrates these bones, the ocelles, and then sends the message to the brain. They're technically part of the skeletal system, but I wanted to learn more about the whole idea of hearing and sound, since that's the main function of them. And so I learned more about the ear, specifically the outer, middle, and inner ear. I got my information from kidshealth.org. Make sure you're also writing down what websites you got your information from. I found out that earwax protects the ear from infection. And just those three parts of the ear, that the outer ear catches sound waves, the middle ear turns it into vibrations through the drum, and then it moves to those ocelles bones. And then in the inner ear, there's this thing called the cochlea, which is this little circular tube, and there's liquid in it. And so when these ocelles bones strike the liquid, then the liquid vibrates, and it vibrates hairs along that cochlea tube. And then the hairs are actually what's connected to the nerves, and they send the message to the brain. I thought that was pretty cool. They transfer sounds. This is what the job in the department, transferring sounds through the ear to the brain. The other organs are the parts of the ear and the nerves they connect with. I feel like the ocelles are really important for hearing, and that without hearing, that people are in danger of sounds that communicate danger. Things like cars coming or dogs barking. Talking to other people becomes very difficult. And then I want to do a little more research of what goes wrong, like how does someone lose their hearing? What parts of the brain? Is it the ocelles specifically that is often the problem, or is it the cochlea? So I'm curious about that. I might do a little more research. But the next thing that you'll want to do is go to this organize your ideas. And I want you to think about how many sentences is in a paragraph, and write down your guess right here, and we'll talk about that tomorrow. But there's each paragraph, has a couple things. It has the main topic of that paragraph, some explanations, details, examples, and then wrapping up of that paragraph. But the same thing's true of the whole business letter we're gonna write, that we have this hamburger. A couple of you really like hamburgers and cheeseburgers. So I was thinking of you when I took this picture, but this bun, top bun, kind of introduces your topic. You know, it's things like, what's the main point, right? Don't fire me, it's that idea. And then why? What's kind of your main job? What makes you important? Why should you not be fired? And you can write this on your notes too as you watch this. And then we've got our first hamburger and cheese here. That's kind of our paragraph 2, our first example. Why shouldn't we fire you? Why shouldn't you be fired? So you might say something that describes all the things that you do in the body, okay? Describe that in a paragraph. Then we need another thing, another paragraph, another hamburger. That might be, what would go wrong if you weren't there? Okay, so you might say, you know, what are the problems if you're fired? You might also talk in another paragraph, this is paragraph 4, which is example 3, about how do you connect to your department? Why are you important? Not just yourself, but everybody in your department working together, or in the whole body. And you have to decide, because your order is going to make more sense depending on your thing. So you might say the jobs you do. Then you might want to say your jobs in the department and what would go wrong if you weren't there. You can decide which order these make sense in. And then your last paragraph is the bottom bun. Remember, that's a lot like the top bun, because it's the conclusion. It should sound similar. So you might want to rephrase it another way, like, you should keep me because, and kind of a brief summary of what are the things that you've said. So this is just kind of a reminder and overview of what this is going to look like. Hopefully you've written these down. If not, pause right now and write those down kind of as your ideas. And when you're done with that, go ahead and turn that paper over. And this is your plan. This is where you are going to write down how you're going to plan your paper. So you're going to look over here at all the information you have, and then back over here and decide what are you going to do. And in your introduction, you're going to start with that you heard the human body is being fired. You don't have to write out every single little thing here. This is just your plan. So you might start with, don't fire me because, and why would you say is true for you? I'm gonna say because I'm part of the system that helps the person hear, right? And I'm the 3 smallest bones in the body, I'm really important, something like that. So this is just my notes. And I'm still gonna have this next to me when I'm actually writing. So between the 2 of these things, I have everything that I need. 3 reasons, I wanna think like, what are my 3 main reasons why I shouldn't be fired? And obviously reason 1, then I'm gonna expand on that down here. Reason 2, I'm gonna expand on that down here. Reason 3, I'm gonna expand on that down there. But this is just like, if I could sum it up, you know, so for me, I might say, what are kind of the steps in hearing? This goes to that, goes to that. And so when I think about that, I'm looking back at these notes, and I think I wrote that right up here in number 6. So then when I say, okay, if reason 1 is steps in hearing, I might say, look at my notes, number 6. That's kind of where I'm going to write that information, is in that paragraph. My second reason might be things that have to do with how I'm connected to other parts of the body, like the nerves. And so then I might say, okay, where do I have that information? That also was in my notes, number 6. And I had some of that also in my notes, number 4. And then my third reason, I think that one is going to be, what would happen if I wasn't there? And kind of list the problems. So for that section, I'm going to kind of use number 10 to really explain that part. And then I'm looking back because I'm thinking, oh, there's some other things. Did I say number 7? Yeah, I might want to include that in my introduction. Oh, let's see. Oh yeah, this whole description of what I'm like, where am I found in the human body, and what do I look like? Some of that I might use when I give my presentation in front of Mrs. Meyer, but I also might want to mention that right here in number 3, kind of describing how I work, how sounds are transferred. And then when I look at this as a big picture, then I've got each of my steps, step 1, step 2, step 3, my 3 kind of reasons. And then at the end, my conclusion, how do I sum up my ideas? Well, then I want to go back to some of the things I said at the top. Don't fire me. Here's the reasons. So I'm going to review reasons 1, 2, 3 briefly. I'm going to say, please keep me, and I'm going to just kind of do that quick reminder of why they should keep me. And this really is my plan. If I have kind of what in my notes, all my notes in some way are mentioned here in the order I'm going to put those in, and then when you get done with this, we'll be ready to start writing your business letter. Thanks.